Hey guys, SweetBananaGaming here, coach of your Orlando Solgaleo, here with a PGBL Season 2 Week 8 team builder for our battle against the Cincy Scizors. And first of all, this is my first battle, my first week back in town since, I left in January. So this is the first time I'm going back to these battles since, like, the first week of January. So I'm a little bit out of practice. So I've had my work cut out for me a little bit. I got back last week and had to kind of scramble together, trying to put a team together, and I don't know, honestly, I don't know how this is gonna work out. It's not the most thought through I've ever been with a team, but well, I think I have a plan going here. First of all, my opponent, the Cincy Scizors, there are some big threats on this team, as you can probably see. Megalopony being one of the biggest things. It has such a good move pool and a good ability. It can basically hit anything. Most likely will be a fake out spammer, which, if you remember from I think it was week 7. I can't remember now if it was week 5 or week 7. I'm pretty sure it was week 7. Was a major issue. Ambipom with fake out, swapping in and out, and just getting those free fake outs off. So fake out is definitely an issue. Not to mention, just it naturally outspeeds everything on my team, which is where I'll get into the strategy a little bit, but Megalopony is probably the biggest threat on my team because of that stab fake out with its huge attack stat. 136, pretty threatening. And then of course the Haxorus, base 147 attack. I don't care if it's in, what is it, in UU right now? It's still a huge threat, has a good move pool, and a potential Z user. Not sure what Z move it would pack, either Z Poison, Z Steel, or Z Dragon attack, I guess, for maximum damage. I have a few things that can handle this Haxorus, but if it starts getting set up with Dragon Dances, I don't have a whole lot that can wall it. But it is what it is. I'm gonna have to try to make do. Primarina and Zapdos are gonna be annoying walls. Weezing could potentially be an annoyance just because I don't have any stab psychic attacks that I'm bringing, but I'm hoping I have enough special attackers that I'm hoping that Weezing isn't too big of an issue. Hoopa could potentially be a big threat, but on the other hand, out of all of the major threats that I see on this team, Hoopa, I have the most answers to Hoopa because, well, he could scarf it potentially, but assuming he's a Z user, I can do a lot of damage to it, and I'll go through that when I go over my team. So Hoopa is of course a big threat, but it's not, I don't see it as in the top 3 threats on this team, for my team at least. Also, another thing of note, he has a lot of, what does he have, like 3? No, I don't think Primarina can get defog. I could be wrong on that. But he has 3 defoggers and at least 1 rapid spinner and potential rock setters. So keeping hazards on the field is going to be an issue. And part of my strategy kind of requires me to get hazards on the field. Well, there's 2 bits of strategy here. And I'll go over it in more detail, but so as you can see, I'm bringing Naganadel again, and I've been thinking for several games now how, like, maybe I just should stop bringing Naganadel because everybody's prepped for it, but it's so hard because when I look at Naganadel's stats, like, and the damage calcs, Naganadel just rips through so much of this team. If I can, other than the Megalopony, if I can get +2, I'm destroying almost everything on this team. I'd have to get lucky with hitting attacks and everything. I couldn't straight away, I couldn't sweep this team turn 1, but if I had a way to deal with Megalopony, then Naganadel can pretty much rip through a lot of the rest of this team like tissue paper. So, I feel like I can't not bring it, even though I would love to, swap things out and mix things up a little bit. But for this battle, it just does too well. It just matches up too well against a lot of these Pokemon. But anyway, so let's move on with the strategy here. I'm gonna go a little bit out of order with how my Pokemon are listed, just to talk about strategy. So part 1 of my strategy is Web. I don't think I'm gonna lead with Galvantula in this, but I have to think about it. I don't think I'll lead with Galvantula. It depends on what I think my opponent is going to lead, but my opponent might lead. If my opponent brings Steelix, I might have to bring something that can destroy the Steelix. Like, I might lead, like, Silvally, maybe. Maybe Silvally, I don't know. I'm thinking, just spoilers ahead, I'm thinking Silvally or Absol to be my lead. I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. But anyway, with Galvantula, I have to plan it strategically, and he could bring, for all I know, he could bring multiple hazard removers. I would predict him bringing, if I had to pick a top 2 hazard removers that he would bring, probably Zapdos and or Decidueye. I can't see him not bringing Zapdos. I mean, he might. Like, in previous games when I've made a prediction, oh, I don't see them bringing this, or I definitely see them bringing that. It's always the reverse. I'm always wrong. But let's go down this real quick. Basically, I want to strategically plan it out so where I can get webs up. If I can get webs up and keep them up, that's going to help me because yes, Lopunny will have Fake Out, but at least if I am not boosted on the Ganondorf, I can naturally outspeed the Lopunny, so at the very least he has to keep switching out. I can naturally, it gives me another, like, Haxorus at +1 Dragon Dance, I can still outspeed it, and then, not to mention, if I get some speed boosts off, then it's over, I outspeed everything. But again, I do have to plan for working around that Fake Out on Lopunny. So that's gonna bring me to, there's 2 things I want to do for that. One is I have Absol, who has Protect. Now, out of all the Mons I could have put Protect on, like, to counter Mega Lopunny, having a Dark type maybe is not the best call, but I didn't see it being useful on any of my other Pokemon, and I also have Will-O-Wisp. I don't know if he might predict that, so I don't know if he would ever switch Lopunny into Absol, but if I could wait before I reveal Will-O-Wisp and kind of strategically plan that out, maybe I'd have to bluff or something, but could obviously, let's see, that could mess with the Haxorus, that could mess with the Lopunny. If he's running physical Hoopa, that mess with the Hoopa. I wouldn't have to worry about it on Decidueye or Steelix, but it could do that as well. But anyway, his 3 main physical threats, Burn would completely mess them up. So that's that. Also, with Mega Absol, I don't have to even worry about Decidueye. Also, I have to keep in mind Absol to prevent. Actually, maybe I would lead Absol if he brings Steelix, because he wouldn't want to set up rocks. I might just, like, Will-O-Wisp right off the bat, or knock off right off the bat. Now that would be possible. Or he might go for an attack, though. I don't know. I don't know how I live an attack from Steelix. I would have to see that when the time comes, but just generally kind of try to protect myself from hazards on my own side of the field, and to get Will-O-Wisp, and Sucker Punch, if I've got a +1 attack and speed Haxorus and outraging, I'll just go Sucker Punch and Profit, or Protect if all else fails. I have to play the Sucker Punch games carefully if he doesn't bring Outrage, to make sure I time it right so that the Dragon Dance versus the going for an attack, you have to play those Sucker Punch mind games. Unfortunately, Dragon Dance has more PP than Sucker Punch, which is a problem, an annoyance, but it gives me an option. It definitely got me out of a bad situation in the past. So let's move on. Like I said, Naganadel, you know the set. So the other part of trying to deal with Lopunny switching in and out is to try to get Stealth Rocks in. And this will do, this will help me out against, if he decides to bring the Talonflame, because it'll mess with Gale Wings. I don't want to make a prediction. I don't think he'll bring the Talonflame, but if he does, that'll be an option for that, if he wants to switch in. And for the Zapdos, I mean, it won't be enough to deal with the Zapdos, but it'll put a little bit of pressure on how much he can switch in and out without having to go for Roost. And the Lopunny, even though Mega Lopunny being part fighting, will resist the rocks, it will still, depending on how much I can chip away at its health, it'll still kind of put a timer on how many times it can switch in and out, especially if I have like, protect that I can play games with. So, and apart from that, if I get a Swords Dance up, I have the Focus Sash on this thing, so depending on the situation, I might go for Swords Dance or I might go for Stealth Rock. If I'm at +2, Accelerock can do a large amount to Haxorus, so if Haxorus is starting to sweep, but I already got some damage on it, a +2 Accelerock could take care of that. I would have to make sure I get to +2, obviously, but if I'm switching on it and he goes for, like, a Dragon Dance the first turn, I go for Swords Dance and 2 Accelerocks, then I would win that matchup. Stone Edge to do a lot of damage. It's a 2-shot on a physically defensive Zapdos. That's kind of the reason. I wasn't sure whether, like, oh, should I go for Drill Run as just a coverage option or some other move besides having 2 Rock-type moves. But Stone Edge just does a lot of damage and can help me out against a lot of things if I don't have anything else. And it'll help me against Zapdos. Now, what Zapdos, it depends on Zapdos' spread. If it's more split between physical and special, then Stone Edge will be doing a lot of damage. So, that's my call there. And I don't know if I'll be able to use both the Stealth Rock and the Swords Dance strategies together, so I might have to go one or the other depending on the situation, but the Stealth Rock, if I can get it up, could help me out with limiting the amount that Lopunny is able to switch. So now let's go over to Silvally. We're running Grapefruit, running Water type, just for generally a decent defensive type. The only things I have to watch out for are the Zapdos and the Decidueye. Lopunny might be packing Thunder Punch, but I'm not sure why it would. Maybe it would for Slowbro, so I don't know. It's possible that Lopunny could be packing Thunder Punch, but I don't know for sure. I have to watch out for Zapdos and Decidueye, but I've got the Ice Beam, which unfortunately with my spread, I can't one-shot the Haxorus, but it's an easy 2-shot. Like, if I get a crit, it would be a 1-shot. So it's an easy 2-shot, so I can take care of the Haxorus that way. I can take 1 hit from unboosted Haxorus with Outrage. But also, anyway, the other thing, I was thinking of leading with Silvally to give myself a pivot. I have Parting Shot, I have Defog as well, just if I need to clear the field and get rid of hazards, because the hazards can make or break myself as well. Surf to do good stab damage, that should take care of Talonflame, Steelix easily. Basically, it takes care of things that I don't have. I mean, I have an answer for Talonflame, but I don't have too much for Steelix, so this is just kind of to cover my bases type-wise. And then the Ice, which I wouldn't stay in on Decidueye, but I could, you know, if he doesn't expect it, get an Ice Beam on the Decidueye. It's just options to keep available. Again, the only thing I'm not totally covered for is the Wheezing. Clefable kind of covers that, but I don't know. But yeah, this is just general, like, kind of defensive. I could have had more defensive investment, but no amount of defensive investment is going to let me live 2 hits from a +1 Haxorus, which is the unfortunate part, so I'm gonna go with this set. It's been pretty good. I know I've been using the same kind of spread in multiple games for this defensive Silvally, but it's done pretty well for me so far. As it does a lot better for me than any time I go for a fully offensive spread on Silvally, so that can help me out in the future. The things I have to watch out for is getting in a fight with Primarina with this, but I could, you know, Parting Shot as a pivot, so I have options there. If I get in an unfavorable matchup, a lot of these Pokemon I would be, well, I might be faster than, but I don't know because I don't have speed investment, so it depends, but I have some options. I would definitely be faster than Steelix. I could pivot out against Steelix, or just Surf against Steelix, but you know, predict the switch, blah, blah, blah. You know, all these, a lot of it's going to depend on what happens in the game in real time, but just to kind of give you an idea of the things I'm thinking of. So the last Pokemon I haven't covered yet is my Clefable. This is it's not a new set, but it's a little bit of tweaked. Remember that kind of experimental set I tried out? I mean, somebody else made it up, so it's not experimental for them, but it was experimental for me with the weakness policy set. I wanted to take that idea and try to tweak it a little bit, because a big problem I had in the previous match was kind of being stuck with no powerful moves to use. So rather than going and I might be kicking myself for not making a Cosmic Power set because I might want more physical defense because of his main hitters on this team. But I went with this spread with Calm Mind to boost stored power faster, and because I don't have Charge Beam to boost my special attack, and B to help me with Moonblast. You know, again, another option to boost my special attack. So stored power, again, if I can get set up, this would be a good option against the Weezing. If Weezing has any speed investment, he'll outspeed me, but this Clefable could be a dangerous set. The only thing that's negative is I don't have the Cosmic Power boost, but I'm gonna try this set. I have to make sure I can switch in on something that's not gonna hit me very hard, like a Decidueye or a Primarina. Primarina might get Haze, I'm thinking, because Tapu Fini does, but I'll look that up. So I have to watch out for that. Other than that, like if I can get in on something and start setting up and kind of like force him to use a super effective attack, then I'll be in pretty good shape with this Clefable if I can trigger the weakness policy. And also I got soft boiled on this set, you know, so I have more PP on that rather than having Moonlight compared to my previous set. So anyway, this is the idea. I'm gonna see if it works. I have a couple misgivings, but the set's already made and I can't put Cosmic Power back on this thing. So I'm gonna use it like this. Hopefully it works. This might have been a better strategy to use against someone who has a lot more special threats, but we'll see. We'll see if this comes in handy. And did I go over, I mean, Naganadel's the same set. I don't think I needed to go over anybody else. It's pretty much is what it is. So this is my set. I don't really have much more to say. Like I said, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, and a lot of this is going to depend on, you know, obviously what he brings. I wish you got a little bit more time to consider your lead, because I always do poorly under the timer, but I have to do that trick of trying to speak as little as possible. So this is it. This is, man, I'm back. It's week 8. I think this is the first thing going past the halfway mark in the PGBL, the main season, because I think there's like 14 teams. So if you're excited for the second half of Season 2 of the PGBL, be sure to leave a like. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe so that you get updates on when my next videos go live. Make sure that little bell is activated. And yeah, leave a comment, show your support, and stay tuned, because the game, when I put the game up, it'll be tomorrow. So yeah, I still stink at outros, and I'm still getting back in the swing of things, like I said. So guys, anyway, what I mean to say is thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time for our Week 8 PGBL match, your Orlando Solgaleo against the Cincy Scizors. See you then.